Well, hey folks, welcome to the channel where it is all about racing. Today we're going to take a cool look at this 143 scale Spark model of Max Verstappen's 2023 win at the Miami Grand Prix. Now this thing comes packaged in this white box, and this is what a lot of the Porsche dealership collection boxes look like. Basically just tells you, really doesn't tell you anything. You got a model that they made 400 of. This one would be 164th of it. Otherwise, there's absolutely nothing on the exterior of this box. I mean, virtually nothing. I'm not sure what that on the back is, but we'll just take it at that. Now, when you open up, it looks like this. Oracle Red Bull Racing on the top. Max Verstappen, Miami 2023. And as you move it around, race result. Number 1 tells the time. Back of it, nothing. This is where it actually opens, or the seal's from. And then if you take it on the bottom, you have all the typical legalese you would expect. GP World, I don't know what that is. If anybody does, they can tell me. Red Bull Racing. Interesting. Not what you typically see on the bottom of a Spark box. Then you open up, and this is what you've got. You've got this really cool picture of Max leaning over the car, which we're going to replicate here in just a moment, as well as the car itself. Now, once you add the figure and the signboards, this is what it looks like. This signboard actually broke. I did buy this secondhand, but these are made of metal. They're very, very flimsy. They only bend so many times, and they don't particularly like to sit up straight. So I won't even be able to tape this one to the bottom of the box, which is what I typically do. But anyhow, there you have it. Otherwise, you've got a really spectacular looking car. I absolutely love the livery of this car. I think it looks great. And that's what it looks like. Basically, the base of this is cardboard. It's a cardboard box. There's no acrylic jewel cover. As you know, you close it, it seals, like such. Which you have to be careful when you're doing it. Take the figures out and everything else and put it in the little plastic sleeves that come with it. So the Oracle Red Bull RB19 was the award-winning car designed and constructed by Red Bull Racing and powered by a Honda RBTH001 1.6-liter direct injection V6 power unit. In 2023, there'd be 22 races, and Red Bull would win 21 of them for a 95.545% ratio. Pretty damn good. I'd say this was very much a dominant car. Red Bull would be the Constructors' Champion, and Max Verstappen would be the Drivers' Champion. At the Miami Grand Prix, Max qualified only 9th due to an ill-timed red flag. However, in the end, he would win the race with teammate Sergio Perez taking 2nd. So Red Bull would take a 1-2. What a shock. It was a great year for Max, great race, and a really cool model. Typically when they come to places like Miami, a lot of the teams will throw on liveries that are somewhat unique, that try to capture the flavor of Miami, which is in the tropics of Florida. If you've ever been to any Daytona reviews in January, Daytona is cold as all hell, and it really only warms up once summer comes. If you go to Sebring, which I'll be going to in about 2 weeks, Sebring is warm this time of the year, but Miami's even warmer than that. In fact, it's warm even during the winter, even though Miami residents will probably tell you it's not that warm. But anyhow, really, really cool car. Looks absolutely great. Typical, I guess you could say, Spark aesthetics as you normally get with a Spark car. I mean, everything from the front wing to, and look at the carbon fiber detail, the Red Bull on it looks really, really good. The wheels, I think, look exceptionally sharp. Do have the rather plain wheel covers on it. In my opinion, they could have added some purple and blue to the wheel covers and made it look even more spectacular than it does, and that would have really been neat. You've got a really nice job on the front of the car, and I love the Max figure. Now, one thing that's kind of hard to see is his visor is actually open, as it is in the picture that you see there. I have to kind of lift this off, and I want to make sure I'm careful doing this because I don't want to break anything doing so. But I'll take it off and kind of give you a close-up of it. And there you can see the visor actually open. You see a little bit of flesh there. It's not particularly that fantastic looking. And all in all, I think Max looks pretty good, the figure. Not as good as it would be in 1/18 scale, as I have a couple models of him with that. But all in all, I think an absolutely great looking figure for the most part. Now, when you put this figure in and you put it back on, you got to be careful when to place it because his hand rests right near the pitot tube, and you don't want to damage that part. It's a very delicate part. There's also another small aerial right in front of it, as they typically do have. I got to tell you, the pitot tube on the Red Bull cars looks really weird, but what the hell? It works. What can I say? Anyhow, there's a cool look at the car. And I'll kind of flip around. In some ways, on these boxes, it's a little hard to, without taking the car off the base, to get a good look at the cockpit. I really can't see much from this angle just because of the way that the box is designed. The only drawback of it, so to speak. To go around the back, you got to kind of do it as such. But, the typical Spark work as you would expect. Great details, the rear end, the front, everything. The car just looks really, really sharp. I mean, they did a spectacular job. And this being a 2023 model, if you take a look at the rear wing, you can see all those little dots on there. Spark has been accused by a lot of reviewers over the years for not having that, where in many cases, many champs did. And there's even one reviewer, I'm trying to recall who it was, he would even paint his own dots on his cars to make it look more realistic. If I had that skill and I was afraid I wouldn't ruin it, I'd do the same thing, but I won't. Anyhow, look at the rear wheels. And there's a question I've always asked and nobody's ever answered it for me, so I'm going to ask everybody again. It's about six minutes into this video. Does anybody know why they do not have the graphics or the lettering of Pirelli and everything else on the inside of the rear tire when they do on the front side of the tire, on the front tires? They got it on the outside, got it on the front, but for some reason the rear does not. I've never understood why. Anybody can tell me. Carbon fiber detail, from the rear wing, the suspension. I mean, exactly what you would expect from Spark. Looks great. I think the paintworks and decals look great. You can kind of see, like for the Red Bull, where you've got you tell the outline of the decal around it. That is one thing that Spark has been criticized for, which I wholeheartedly agree. I think Mini Champs does a better job. In fact, guys, I've actually got a Mini Champs model. I have a Mercedes Collector's Edition of one of their cars. I'm going to show it to you. It's an absolutely phenomenal car. It's Mini Champs done right, unlike they do everything else. Doesn't have the crappy bases that they typically have and the lousy packaging that I have been so critical of. But anyhow, today we're talking about a Spark, and that is what this looks like, guys. There's a chance to still get these. I see them on eBay all the time. If you're interested in a really cool car, a unique package, just be careful that you don't break the signboard as I did there. But again, you can always just lean up against the car and it kind of works. Anyhow, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.